Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, guys, this is an addendum to what we had discussed and explored from the outset. I think since MBS came onto the scene, we drew the attention of our beloved ulama ikram to this individual not being very kosher, and that we should draw our attention to him and remain muhtat about this individual, that he does not augur any good. And that also, I believe we were the first, um, even in the scholarly world, to draw the attention of our ulama ikram to this individual being tied into the three sons of a khalifa, fighting for our treasure, and that may be very likely that this individual will play into that hadith. What's interesting, what I've found and what we've discovered since, is that subhanallah, and we'd maintained that position a long time ago, and for those of you who are part of the science distribution list will certainly agree, is that we had emphasized on the fact that this was a manufactured dialectic, a controlled opposition, and that it's a psyop, and that there was no murdering of this individual, Khashoggi. It was for the masses, for humanity, to lull you into one side or the other. Whilst you are on any one of these sides, they can coerce and control the narrative and the synthesis. And the synthesis, we clearly told you that this is a means through which they are going to cause civil unrest within Saudi Arabia, which will then, I guess, by default, will lend credence and bring into fruition the hadith of the three sons of the Khalifa fighting for our treasure. All of this seems to be a very, very carefully crafted psyop. I want you to just listen to this excerpt, which has just been published right now on the 16th of February.
That showed Mohammed bin Salman wanting to get rid of Khashoggi all the way back in 2017. So this isn't something new. Now, Turkey moving towards an international investigation is very important because the amount of punishment Turkey can deal to Saudi Arabia is obviously limited. But an international coalition, a consortium, reaching this decision and handing down this punishment is much more meaningful. And this will set the precedent for the future, showing people that, hey, you can't do this. If you do this, the United Nations will come after you and you will receive a meaningful punishment for this crime. So it's very important that Turkey is seeking international help in this. And President Erdogan's also called out to the United States to do more and put its weight behind this investigation, because obviously the United States is a key player in molding international global public opinion. And without Donald Trump on board, how much can an international investigation move? How much can an
Now, we've always maintained that all the key players, at least those players who have some level of influence on the international stage, are part of the Shaitanic cabal, and take their instructions from the Shayatin and Ins and Jinn, and their steward is Iblis Lanatullah alayhi. This is a very, very, very complicated, complex global game that's being played. And the chessboard, all the key players on the chessboard from either side of the conflict belong to the same cabal, subhanallah. And this is something that I've been pushing and advancing and impressing on our beloved ulama ikram, that they need to wake up and see the reality for what it really is. We need to understand that Erdogan is part of this, subhanallah, dialectic, and he's playing his game, his role in all of this. Imran Khan, you name any one of them, subhanallah, they all fall into the same dialectic. As we've always maintained, Iblis Lanatullah has not left anything to chance. And these key players, and at the moment, as we've always impressed on our ulama ikram, that the ummah is yatim, and we will be until our prince appears, subhanallah. Up until then, this whole game has been set up. This particular one is to make sure that Saudi Arabia falls into civil unrest, which we've certainly postulated in the science forecasts for our ulama ikram. And not only that, that was the one in 2017, in fact, and it spills into 2019, and that this whole psyop and setup is to ensure that that's exactly what happens. Again, understand that the Greater Israeli Project, as I've already emphasized to all of you who are on the science distribution list, extends all the way into Saudi Arabia. Okay, so we need to be aware of that, we need to be muhtat of that, and then we need to try and understand the intricacies of what exactly is happening and take a very objective vantage point on this particular situation as it unfolds. Again, please, the ulama ikram really need to be very, very sensible about this, and genuinely it's high time now that you do address your flocks and tell them that there is something huge that's on the horizon, and we need to be in a position to curb the effects of that on us up until the moment that we make hijrah, and that hijrah is going to happen very soon. Again, understand that all of this, even the right now, I think you must have come across an article on the ISIS bride and how any of these jihadi, quote, exclamation mark, jihadi brides will not be allowed to come back to the country. In fact, they'll be sent to Guantanamo Bay and detained there. Subhanallah, this again is another psyop, and it's all part of ensuring that there's no exodus globally of the Muslim Ummahs living, at least especially so in the Western countries, the Muslims making hijrah to the call of Imam Mahdi when he appears. These are very, very huge games that are being played, subhanallah, and we need to start really looking through the eyes of our heart and really discern what the shayateen and ins and jinn are doing, subhanallah. Anyway, I thought I'd just share this with you. It just got published, and maybe perhaps I can re-emphasize the need for our scholars to now address their flocks and tell them to put in some sort of contingencies, have something in place. And subhanallah, Sheikh Umar Balochi, who does attend the United Nations, the religious blocks there, and certainly represents the Muslims. In fact, that's this individual here. Alhamdulillah, he's part of the science distribution list, and he's certainly come on board and taken the advice. I've even shared one of his videos where he encourages his flock to be at least muhtat. Certainly I'm not encouraging any kind of like and I'm sure he isn't neither any kind of cultish behavior. There you go, he's just sharing something on WhatsApp as well. I'm not encouraging any sort of cultish behavior, but what I am encouraging, and it's all postulated in the science PDF, what will come, and that the flock should turn to their imams, their scholars during this time. What I'm encouraging the ulama and the imams to do, is to now tell their flocks to at least have some sort of contingencies in place. I mean, subhanallah, Sheikh Umar Balochi had quoted a hadith from Imam Ali radiallahu anhu about a certain period and a certain time, and during that time to have at least a year's worth of food stored, subhanallah, during this testing time. What we postulated is 6 months, and wallahu alam whether that is going to converge onto the sort of time that we're thinking, and most likely it does. And then yes, I would certainly extend it if that hadith is referring to the same timeline. That certainly then our position extends from 6 months to a year's worth of supply, subhanallah. Again, I'm pretty sure that the ulama ikram are aware that we have stressed this ad nauseum, and subhanallah, it seems Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has through time we've been seeing that the postulations made and what has been articulated in the science PDF is really coming upon us. And again, I don't know, there's some sort of latency in the response of our ulama ikram. There seems to be some sort of maybe a cavalier attitude, wallahu alam, Maybe you're thinking that there's another 100 years left before any of this happens, like many, subhanallah, which would be very unfortunate with what's in front of us and not being able to see um, the reality of all of that would be a very dire state and a dire condition of, because subhanallah, you're the litmus test of what the ummah is, right? The ulama ikram are the litmus test of, if you अगर जायज़ा लेना हो उम्मत का, तो बस उलमा इकराम की तरफ देख लो, उनके नज़र अंदाज से पता चल जाएगा, और what they can see and what they can't see, and उनका जो फरासा है वहाँ से पता चल जाता है कि उम्मा किस हाल में है और what condition we're in, subhanallah. All of that becomes self-evident. And if you can't see this, then subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, um, then yeah, I guess if anything, that would make me more assertive and more convinced that we are in a time when the Imam al-Mahdi will come. Subhanallah, because of that, because of this dire condition of the Ummah and the inability of our scholars to be able to discern the times that we're living in. Jazakallah khair wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.